Hi, hello, welcome to episode 2 of Shelabobby Handmade. My name is Caitlin and I am also known as Shelabobby just about everywhere on the internet. Welcome. I must say that I am very overwhelmed, I guess a little bit, by the numbers of people who have joined me here and also watched my first podcast. So I just want to say hello and thank you. It was a little bit overwhelming for me. I wasn't expecting anyone other than some of my friends from my knit group and like some family to watch it. And so, yes. Hello. So I want to let you know a little bit more about me. I am located on the eastern side of North Carolina, so eastern NC, and yes, it is still quite warm here, so no knitwear, just my Panic at the Disco band tee is what I'm wearing today because it is still quite hot. I have the air conditioner and this is my shed, that is my office. I've had it running all day so that I could have a nice cool area to start with, so thankfully it is 72 degrees in here and will hold, so maybe I won't get as red cheeked as I did last time. Yeah, so welcome. We talk about knitting, crochet, yarn, lots of yarn. I'm looking at a lot of yarn around me. Maybe some cross stitch, embroidery, spinning in the near future, but today is mostly knitting. So we have some finished objects, we have some works in progress, we have some acquisitions and some plans. So let's get started with finished objects. So I do not know what happened. I don't know if it is the end of summer sock camp and so my knitting mojo picked back up because of all of the socks that I have tried to cram in the last 3 months, or maybe it's just the end of summer because before summer sock camp my knitting mojo was a little and I wasn't really inspired to make anything or work on anything. I was creating things but maybe not necessarily finishing them. So maybe it's just that I have some new friends to share them with, but I have 4 finished objects for you today. So most of them are socks, end of summer sock camp. So let's start talking about those. So let me get a sock blocker. So my first finished object is the Huggle socks, which I showed in the first episode or my last episode as a work in progress, and I'm going to do my best not to cover my mouth. I realized that while I was editing the last episode that I covered my mouth so much, so I'm going to try my best not to do that. I am still learning, so bear with me. So these are the Huggle socks by, oh, I had that right, Knitting Expat Designs. It has a lovely twisted cable. Some modifications that I did for this particular pattern is I did swap out the heel. It had, I believe, a garter stitch short row heel, which I had never done before, and I was actually at my local yarn shop knitting around the table, and I was not ready to tackle something new. So I just substituted in a heel flap and gusset, which I am used to, and just continued on. This one also has a rounded toe, which I think I talked about last time, that I had never done before. And so, yep, I tried that, and I have actually used that on some other socks as well since then. I did finish the second sock. Let me get another blocker so I can show you it on the blocker, because they have the design on the alternate side so that when you are wearing them you have the beautiful cable on the outside or the inside if you decide of the foot. So my socks are a little bit different in color. So the inside of the inside of the skein is it skein? I'm gonna say skein. We're gonna go with skein. The inside of the skein was a little bit different than the outside of the skein, so they are a little bit different in colors, but still just as beautiful. So some details about these. Let's see, I started these on August 2nd and finished them on August 13th. So 11 days. I'm using Yarnaceous fibers in the Salta fingering base, which is 8515 superwash merino and nylon. The colorway is Enraptured by You, and I already talked about the modifications, so we won't go back over those. The size I knit was a medium large, which is the 68 stitches. It was the first time I did 68 stitches on a sock, and I loved it. US 1 2.25. I did 20 rounds on the cuff. I think I did about 3 repeats of the cable pattern on the leg, and knit these on magic loop. So those are my first finished objects. And I also want to mention that it is thundering outside at the moment, so if you hear some rumblings, I apologize. There's a storm approaching. So my next finished object is again a sock. These are my butterfly socks, which are just a vanilla pattern. I originally was using the vanilla sock pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady, but my pattern numbers have changed and I've adjusted it a little bit that it resembles her pattern but is not exact. So it's starting to be my own vanilla recipe that I like to use. So again, trying not to cover my mouth. These are the butterfly socks. Again, it is vanilla. I started these on August 3rd and finished them on August 19th. See if I can get that to focus a little bit better. There we go. I'm using Ash and Bumble Field Sock, which is their 80/20 base, in the Butterfly Wings colorway. I knitted these on 68 stitches, magic loop, 20 rounds for the cuff, which is just a 2x2, and 25 rounds for the leg, heel flap gusset, and I did use the rounded toe that was on the Huggle socks for this one as well. So I think that is all the information for that. Oh, I forgot to mention, I've thrown them somewhere and I can't find them. There we go. The Huggle socks were my 11th sock for summer sock camp. These were my 12th pair of socks for summer sock camp, which met my goal. My goal for the summer was to do 12 pairs of socks. So I officially met my goal with that. But another pair of socks. So these are DKY socks. So that's going to lead me into my third finished object, which are these socks here. I cast these on August 19th and finished August 25th. You will see some white dots and we will talk about that in just a moment, but these are my next object. So I have both of them here. These I'm calling my Dead City socks because of the colorway. They are DK vanilla socks, knit from the Crazy Sock Lady's DK vanilla sock. It's a free pattern. The yarn is Nerdy Knits DK 8 ply, which is 100% superwash merino. The colorway is Dead City, which is inspired by the video game Stray, which I have never played, but I have seen, and it's a little cute kitty cat that's a stray cat. You're like wandering around as him. Adorable. Anyway, these are knit in the size large. They are for my grandma. And I used, of course, the 56 stitch count magic loop US 3 3.25. Yes, 3.25 cuff, 10 rounds, 2x2, leg, 15 rounds. These are officially 13 for summer sock camp. Yes, and so the white dots. So I knit my grandma socks all the time. She loves them, but she has like vinyl planking, wooden floors, fake wooden floors, and she told me recently that while she loved my socks and loved to wear my socks, she didn't feel comfortable on the linoleum or the wooden floors that she felt like they were a little bit slippery. So I looked up how to get what we call grippy socks, and so I found a way to add these little dots to the bottom of her shoes. I asked her to send me a pair of her socks that I made her that were not her favorite. We tried it out. She said it works great. So I'm just trying out a couple of designs. This one is just little dots on the, what would be like the ball of your foot near the toe. And then I just did a triangle and some dots on the actual heel. This stuff is called Stock and Stop, which is 100% in German. So I cannot tell you one thing about this, other than it's kind of like puffy paint that you would use like on when you were a kid drawing on shirts, or I guess nowadays kids use it to do, what are those things called? Squishies, the little squishy foamy things. I know that they use puffy paint to paint on those as well, but it's very similar, except it's more of a rubbery texture. A little bit sticky, so we're gonna see how that works and how it wears on the socks. But I got this on Amazon. It was a 3-pack that had white, gray, and black, and so fairly affordable. But it is, so far, working pretty great. So that is what I have on these socks. I originally told someone that I was doing that, and they're like, you're putting puffy paint on your handmade socks with hand-dyed yarn? That feels like blasphemy. And I say, safety first, Batman. My grandma loves my socks. She wants to wear them, and this makes them safer. So, puffy paint, Stock and Stop on the socks. All right, so my last finished object is a sweater. So I finished, if you watched basically my whip parade, all the whips that I have currently on my needles, I was working on a lento, and I have finished it. So here it is. All of its glory. It has been blocked. It is ready to go. I will put this on in a little bit and show you how it looks on. I will not do that now because it is starting to get warm, but I will give you some details about it. So I cast this on May 15th, and I finished it on August 23rd. It is knit in Plötulopi, which is an Icelandic unspun yarn. Let's see if that can focus there. I am Plötulopi, knitting it in the colorway dark gray heather. I'm knitting the size 6. It is held double, and I did not bring any of the yarn to show you. I'm so sorry. But you can see it here. I'm holding it double to get gauge. And I know some people it's blowing it out like crazy there. I know that some people were able to get gauge with a single thread of it, but I preferred the weight and just the size of the gauge holding it double. I did not write down what size needle I am knitting this on, so I am sorry, did not have that information, but I'm linking all of my Ravelry project pages. I am not good, just forewarning you, I am not good at keeping notes on the actual Ravelry page. That is because I'm afraid that I'm going to give information away about the pattern, especially if it's a paid pattern, and so I'd rather just put no notes rather than some notes. But if you ever have questions about a project that I did, please ask me, and I will give you information that you need. I'm just trying to be super careful with paid for patterns. So it is a little bit bigger than I expected, and you'll see that in the video that it is a little bit oversized. It is not soft, 100% not soft. It is not next to skin. I would never wear this without a long sleeve shirt underneath. I would not wear it without, just some protection from its prickly. It is very, 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 very prickly, but that is okay. It is going to be great for the winter days where it is much, much colder. If I'm outside and the wind is blowing, this is going to be perfect. It's going to keep me warm, and that's its intention. So not upset about that, just it's not soft. Some modifications that I did, I did extra decreases on the sleeve. So on the sleeve itself, it had you stop at a specific number of decreases, and I tried it on and it was quite large around my arm, and I have short little stubby arms. They do not need a whole lot of length, and they don't need a whole lot of, they need width up here. I definitely need all of the width in the upper arm, but in the forearm usually I decrease a little bit more. So I did 2 more decrease rounds on the sleeve, and it is still quite big. You'll see that in the video as well. I also opted not to do the double collar, expecting the collar to be scratchy so that it wasn't up next to my neck being super scratchy. So it is a little bit more open and allows for a t-shirt to be under there. Let's see. Okay, so the other thing is the pattern. Of course, it is the Lento, and I'm going to try and pronounce her name. I wrote down the pronunciation, so I'm going to be looking down to read that. It is by Yona, or Yona, or Jonah Hitala, I think. It's here, you can see. Which is the, I believe, the editor-in-chief of the Lina magazine. So she's the one that designed this pattern. It has been super popular this year. A lot of people have made sweaters out of it holding a fingering weight or DK weight and a, what's that called? Mohair. That word totally escaped me, sorry. Holding a mohair together. I am not a mohair person. It is a little bit scratchy on me, so I just opted for a Plotulopia. I always wanted to try an unspun, and so that is what I did there. So that is my Lento, and that is complete. Oh, I left a piece of yarn on the back of the sweater so that I could show you where I was on the last video. So I knit about 6 inches, and then I did the 1x1 rib, and then of course both sleeves. So that's what I have done since the last episode, which is exactly 2 weeks recording time for me. I don't know when this one will come up or go up on YouTube, but I record on Sundays, or that's my plan at least. So those are all of my finished objects. Let's move on to works in progress. Okay, so the first one that I worked on is the Sunshine Shawl is what I call it, but it is the Sunshine Baby by Kelly Van Nykirk. It is in my Cottontail Farm bag. Very fall. I'm starting to get out my fall notions, and I'm so excited. So in here, I didn't work too much on this. This is what I was working on yesterday at my local yarn shop while we were knitting around the table. I go there on Saturdays and just hang out, and I knit about an inch. So some details on this. It is the Baby Sunshine by Kelly Van Nykirk. I'm knitting this in Long Dog yarns in silver and gold. It is on her Bounce sock base, which I believe is 80/20. Actually, I have a tag. Oh, nope, 75/25. Bounce sock, 75/25. Long Dog yarn. I am on my second skein officially, so I have started the second ball of yarn. It's been about, let's see if I can find it. It's been about 5 rounds. Oh, there it is. Yeah, about 5 rounds since I joined in the second ball. So this is, or the second cake. So this is going quite along. I'm enjoying this. Some details on this particular pattern. I've been noticing that my tension on my pearls have been wonky. So whenever I'm knitting flat back and forth, one of my rows, I think they call it rowing out, where you can see the different rows. Like it's not a fabric that is nice and even textured, because one of your rows is bigger or smaller than the other one. So I did some swatching, I did some tests to see which one of my knits or purls was looser, and did some research on that. And so I'm actually knitting on 2 different size needles. So my first needle is a 4, and that is what I am doing my knits on. And then my second needle is my purling needle, and it is a size 3. And so that way my fabric is becoming a lot more even. And I have switched way down here somewhere, so I don't know if you'll be able to find an area where the stitches are not as even, but since I have switched, they've become a lot more even. So that is something that I'm bringing into cardigans in the future, is that I will make sure when I swatch that I use a needle size that is 1 down or somewhere near a full needle size down, just to even out that tension for my purls. So I think that is all for the sunshine shawl. Yep, I don't have any more notes written there. My plan, as I said in all of my works in progress video last time, is that my plan is I want to use at least half of this cake of yarn and see how big it is at that point. Most likely, just based on what I've seen for the last little bit of using this cake, is that I'll use all of this cake of yarn to have a giant shawl, and then I will put in yellow for the garter border. This is a mini skein. I keep thinking I'm saying that wrong. It sounds weird saying it out loud. I'm sorry if I keep changing my pronunciation of that. I'll fix it later. But it has come with a mini of this beautiful gold color, and I don't know if this would be enough to do the garter, but I have something similar. It's the Malabrigo sock in, I can't think of the name. I'll put it right here. Malabrigo sock that I think would look beautiful and similar to this that I have about 30 grams of, and so I'll probably use that to do the garter border. And I'm just planning to do a small, maybe 2-inch garter border on the bottom of it. So that is it for the sunshine shawl. Let's see what is next. My other whip. So I only have 2 works in progress going, and that is because most of my, or that I've worked on. I obviously have more works in progress, but all of my knitting time over the past 2 weeks have gone into the 3 pairs of socks and the sweater. So only in the last 48 hours have I started working on some other projects. So this is in a Black Pearl Magic vinyl bag, which is perfect for a smaller sock. So I have a hard time putting a 100-gram ball of yarn in here, but this particular one is a 50-gram ball of yarn, and it works perfectly to carry this in. So, and I always have my notions, like my row counter for when I'm working on the cuffs and things like that, and scissors, and my is it twice sheared sheep? Twice sheared sheep is indeed the sock ruler, which is really, really cool to be able to measure your socks. And ever since I have purchased this, I put it in all of my sock bags, so it carries around in there as well. So this is what I'm calling my Cats in Space sock. Throwing everything out of the bag. So these are my Cats in Space socks. And as I said, I am bringing out my autumn charms. So I have a little kitty in a witch hat on this pair of socks. I am well past the gusset decrease. I can speak, I promise. I am well past the gusset decreases and am about halfway through the foot for myself. I am using Area 51 fibers, which is fairly new to me. I found them on Instagram not too long ago, and I loved colorways, so I jumped on a couple of them and have since ordered a couple more. So this is the Cats in Space in the sturdy Alien base, which is 80/20. It is self-striping yarn, which is really cool. It comes in 50-gram cakes. So that is perfect for myself. I usually only use, at the most, if I'm doing like a longer sock, I'll use 65 grams total. But for socks for myself, I prefer shorty socks. And so most of the time I only need 50 grams, if that. So that is what it looks like in the cake. Little teeny tiny cake that I'm almost halfway through. And then I'm using, here it is. I'm using just a dark navy blue colorway that was a mini from my local yarn shop. So I'm not sure the brand of this particular one, but that is what I'm using for at least the cuffs and the heels. I'm not sure about the toe. I need to measure what I have left there and make sure that I have at least, I believe I need 3.5 grams for my toes. So as long as I have 13.5 grams left on that ball, then I will also do the toe of this sock in the dark blue. So that is where I am on those, and I am enjoying these thoroughly. So, oh, I wanted to talk about on the bag, just in case you saw it, the handle, trying to stuff all of this back in here, please excuse me. Got it. The handle is a just a friendship bracelet. I brought this with me to Myrtle Beach when me and my family were vacationing, and I felt like I was always like gripping the bag while trying to carry it, and it just wasn't as super comfortable. So I was looking for a handle or like a keychain fob, but I found this at the aquarium and it matched the bag because it has beautiful rainbow stitching, and so that is why I have a little handle on there. It fits perfectly in there, and it is lovely. Oh, just some details about that. I already put it in the bag, but I am doing 68 stitches on that because I feel like that is going to be my new normal for socks. All right, so the next section is going to be plans / acquisitions, because some of my plans are going to include acquisitions that I currently have, and then we'll move just into acquisitions. So let's take a look at what we got. So for plans, now that my Lento is off the needles, I do still have my garment, which is my outline tee that I showed in the last episode, which I definitely will continue working on. However, I am feeling the need for more sweaters. So I have 2 options for that, which includes yarn that I already have. So the first one that I am thinking about is the Tolsta tee, which I'll put a picture up here, in the fingering weight version that is by Rebecca Clow, also known as Crayabea here on YouTube. She came out with the DK weight version, which I have not created yet, but she also released the fingering weight version for free for those who already who purchased the DK. So they're kind of a package deal. You get the DK weight one and you get the fingering weight one. So that is one of the ones that I'm thinking about making. I of course need to swatch first, so that is on my list to do tonight as well. And I am thinking about making it in this giant cake of yarn. It's as big as my head, and I love it. This is I forget what she calls these, Baby Grand, which is from Skein Cocaine. I purchased this the summer that I started knitting. So I started knitting in 2020, and I remember sitting outside in the heat really wanting to just buy yarn and make something, and like make a sweater. I just wanted to so bad. And I texted my sister and I was like, tell me not to buy this Baby Grand of black yarn with white specks. Just talk me out of it. She's like, do it. So I did it, and it has been sitting in my stash since then because I'm afraid to knit with it. And so yeah, I've been thinking about what to do with it. I made a teeny tiny swatch back before I made the Lento, and nothing that I was swatching for was working with it. I don't know if it was just what I was looking at, or maybe this yarn needs a little bit of a different gauge, but I'm going to try it for the Tolsta tee or something similar. Now, I will make the Tolsta tee a long sleeve fingering weight sweater. It's just a little bit more of an open gauge. So that is plan number 1. We will swatch, we will see. And when I say swatch, I mean lazy swatch, where I don't wash my swatches. And just, if it doesn't work out, then we tear it out. Don't judge me. This is the tag that came with it. Of course, she wound it up for me because it is over 2,000 yards of yarn. It is 80/20, 8 ply, beautiful yarn. And I'm ready to knit with it. So hopefully, oops, out of focus there, sorry. Hello, there we go. Hopefully the swatch works for that, and that is on my needles. That is going to be the first one that I would like to make, just because I think it would be a nice transitional piece. Transitional with quotation marks, because I am on the eastern side of North Carolina, which is usually warm for quite a bit more time. We don't usually have super duper cold winters, but I'm a person that when I'm sitting inside in the air conditioner, working inside, whatever, I'm gonna have a sweater on. I like to be cozy. I would rather be a little bit warm and be cozy than not be cozy. So yeah, I think that the Tolsta tee, because of the more open gauge, would be a little bit more of a transitional piece for me. So that's gonna be my first goal. However, if that swatch doesn't work out, I'm not gonna frantically try and find a pattern that's going to work. I have another pattern in mind. And that is the, I'm gonna say Ame cardigan. It is made for La Bien-Aimée, so I would say the Ame cardigan by Hopi Locatelli. This one is a beautiful striped cardigan. And I had made a baby blanket, which I'll post a picture of that here, and I loved the colors of that baby blanket so much that I decided I wanted a stripy cardigan. Now, if I'm not mistaken, let's see, I have 6 colorways here, so that means that the cardigan that I'm showing here is only 5 colorways. So I'm going to make it a little bit longer. I'm going to make one more stripe. So the repeat that's on there, I'm just going to make one more color. It won't be included on the sleeve most likely, unless I do, you know, a little bit on the cuff just to bring it in. But that is the plan. The colors that I have in mind, I already have in my stash, are these, which match that baby blanket that I just showed you. So we have, all of these are Blue Sky Fibers. Make sure I point that the right direction. Blue Sky Fibers in Woolstock Light. It does not want to focus on that. There we go. So I have the green colorway, which is Earth Ivy. One second, I need to sneeze. Phew, sorry about that. So we have Earth Ivy. We have Deep Velvet, which is a deep purpley red color. We have Loon, yes, Loon Lake, which is the lighter blue, I believe. I think there might be one lighter blue in their collection. So maybe not the lightest blue, but a lighter blue. Then we have my favorite color in this, which is Midnight Sea, which is a dark blue. I have a sweater made out of the Woolstock, I think it's just Woolstock. The one that they call a worsted weight, Woolstock. But I used it as a DK and it was perfect. So I have a full sweater in this one and I love that sweater. It is my absolute favorite. We also have Cast Iron, which is a dark gray. And then we have Gray Harbor, which is the light gray. So I plan to make that stripy sweater. So I have a skein of the Midnight Sea. I have a skein of that wound up, ready for me to swatch with. So I will be swatching for that one as well, just so that I have it ready if the Tolsta tee is not a match. So have that ready. Those are my plans. The next one is one that kind of leads into acquisitions. So we'll start with that one, or we'll end with that one so that we can jump into acquisitions at the same time. So the next one that I want to work on is my cousin moved recently to Wisconsin, and of course Wisconsin is going to have colder winters than here in North Carolina. So I would like to make the Shift Along by Andrea Mowry for my cousin. I'm gonna make one. She has twins that are 7 years old, and then her and her husband. I want to make hats for all of them for Christmas, just to have some warm options. And to make that, I have this yarn, which, excuse the cake, it is a mess, but I have this dark navy color. This is Fiber Seed and Sprout Sock in the color navy. So their sock yarn leans more towards a sport weight, so that's why I am choosing this one. And of course I had it in stash. So this is their tag for the Fiber Seed. And I have 95 grams. And I believe in the pattern it calls for 40 or 50 of the main colorway. So I should have plenty to make her a hat and possibly me a hat. We'll see. And then the original is made with Spin Cycle, and that is slightly out of my price range for right now, but my local yarn shop just recently got this in, which is Earth Yarns in Spiral Grain Sport. So it's a sport weight, 100% superwash extra fine merino, and it has that barber pulling shifting color deal that you see in Spin Cycle. And so I feel like that would be perfect for it. So these are the colors that I'm going to do with that. So that's going to be cast on pretty soon to get started on that for Christmas gifts, because it is now Christmas season. We must make all of the gifts. So that is coming soon. I got 2 of these. I'll show you the tag on this one. I got 2 of these because, like I said, I might have enough yarn to be able to make myself one with the same yarn. So I went ahead and grabbed myself one of these. Oh, this is in the color Juniper, by the way. Don't think I mentioned that. So that is the last plans that I have for patterns coming up. So hopefully next time you'll either see a Tolsta tee or the Ame cardigan. One of those are on the needles because, as I mentioned in my last video, I really enjoy having 2 types of the same, like 2 garments, 2 socks, whatever, on the needles. So now that my Lento's done, I want to grab another garment and get that on the needles. So hopefully one of those will be on the needles, and then that hat either by next time or soon after. So let's go on with the rest of the acquisitions that I have. I have quite a few, which is odd for me. I do enjoy buying yarn. I am a person that says that collecting and buying yarn is a completely different hobby than actually using the yarn. So I love a good yarn stash, yarn collection, yarn library, whatever you like to call it. I enjoy it. It brings me joy, and I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna make things with it. Even if I make socks, I'm gonna make things with the yarn that I buy. If not, then I will look at it and it will be beautiful. So my first acquisition that I got in the mail are these needles, and I'm gonna try the whole hand thing to get these to focus. There we go. I'm a makeup YouTuber, guys. I ordered myself sorry, I ordered myself some signature straight needles in the size 3. They recently announced that they were going out of business, unfortunately, and I always wanted to try their straight needles, or just needles in general, but it was quite an investment in my opinion. At the time, it was quite an investment to invest in those. So I really want to make a jelly roll blanket or cozy memories or something that would just need some little short straight tip needles. So I decided, since they were going out of business, that I would jump on and grab a needle size that would appropriately fit a DK weight or a fingering weight, depending on which gauge I want to use, and make a purchase of that. So size 3, and I think these are the teardrop tips. Those were the only ones that they had in stock when I went there. So Those came in almost 2 weeks ago. So I have those now, and we'll put them in my collection of straight needles and toss them on the ground apparently. I will consider my next blanket to be scrappy blanket to be made with these. All right, the next one. All right, prepare your eyeballs, and it is overcast, so thankfully you won't be blinded completely, because this colorway, as my mother said, I can say for sure that you do not have that colorway in your stash. It is by Super Glow Fiber, and it is this neon orange, pink, yellow, happy color. And I showed this to my niece, who said that would make some really nice socks. And I said, I agree. So this is Sun-Kissed by Super Glow Fiber. It is on their sock base, which is 75.25. Hand dyed in Scottsdale, Arizona. But I cannot remember the podcaster that I saw that she brought up this yarn, and it was this bright pink, and it literally just took over the screen, and I was like, I need some glowing bright pink yarn. And I am a variegated sock person, so it made me happy, and I can't wait to make it into some socks. So I will be winding this up most likely with some of this yarn and socks. She also included a mini in my package, which I thought was so sweet because I do love a mini. And so this is definitely going to be a pop of color in a plain pair of socks that I have, or go into one of my mini scrappy blankets that I have. So, or scrappy blanket plans that I have, because I have a lot of plans for scrappy blankets, but not enough time. So, Super Glow Fiber, that was another acquisition. My last acquisition that I have is less for me and more for my niece. So I taught my niece how to knit. She grew an interest. She's only 7 years old. She grew an interest in knitting and just asked me if I would teach her. And being a 7-year-old, I really didn't expect a lot of attention span on it, but of course I will teach her how to do it. And she has, while still short attention span towards it, you know, working little by little, row by row, half a row at a time, she has continued her interest in it. And she, they're starting school, and she found out that her teacher is pregnant. And her first thought, which I said was a true knitter's thought, was that she wanted to make the baby a gift, and she wanted to make a hat. So we have been working on her knits and her purls. 2 weeks ago, she learned how to do purling, which says she loves to purl more than she loves to knit. So she wants to make a hat. We picked out a pattern, actually 2 patterns, and we picked out the yarn yesterday at my local yarn shop. And so she is ready to make the hat. So we went ahead and grabbed these. This is Simplicity by Haiku, which is 55% merino superwash, 28% acrylic, 17% nylon. These are 50-gram skeins. And she picked this green color to be the main color, and then she wants to make a pom-pom to go on the top of that hat. And we also think that we only need about half of the yarn to make the hat, that she will make one that's striped and like more of a rectangle hat. I will definitely keep you guys informed on what she makes. She will most likely want to come on here and show you what she makes, but this is the natural olive, and this one is buttercream. So those are her acquisitions, but in turn still my acquisitions. So those will be on the needles soon. So let's talk about some life stuff. I'll be honest, I feel a little bit awkward and apprehensive to share a lot of life stuff on the World Wide Web, especially with the unexpected response that I had with people that I did not know. I even got very excited. Let me remember her name really quick, but I got the notification that I had a comment on it, and it was from, why can't I see? Hold on, still getting used to the app here, 1 second. Here we go. So I got a comment and I recognized the name because I had literally just finished watching her recent episode, Wild Cottage Knitting. Hello, thank you for watching. And it just blew me away that I had just watched her episode and that she was commenting on a video that I had posted. It was a little bit surreal, freaked me out a little bit. So yes, I'm a little apprehensive on sharing lifey stuff, but I know that that's interesting. I enjoy that part on knitting podcasts, so I'm gonna share a little bit. I may not be super personal, but I want to share a little bit of things that I get up to. How about that? So first, I've been requested by my friends to talk more about Charlie, my little bean. So Charlie is a lionhead dwarf rabbit. She is gonna be, gosh, she's gonna be 3 years old in November. We purchased her in January or February, I can't remember, of 2021. And we purchased her as a boy. We purchased her as a male and got her home. She was so happy and loving, or he at the time, and not a cuddly bunny whatsoever. Charlie is much like a cat. Do not touch me. I will come to you when I want pets and food. Feed me, leave me alone, give me quiet, please and thank you. I'm sorry if it's getting super dark. That storm that I'm talking about earlier is coming over, so my light has gone away. So sorry if there's some lighting changes. But anyway, we went to get her fixed, or him at the time, get him fixed, and the doctor came out. It was of course COVID time, so we couldn't go in with her. And he came out and he's like, she's great. Everything's good. Rabbit looks healthy. Everything looks great. The only thing that is missing is lacking testicles. And so we were like, oh, okay. Is that a problem or is that normal? And he was like, Charlie's a girl, so we would need to schedule her for a full operation rather than just a little snip snip. So Charlie is a girl. We kept her name. Her full name is Kevin Charles. So she's kept that, as the nurses at the vet say that is her government name, Kevin Charles, but she goes by Charlie. I didn't talk too much about her last time. I did mention her, but I was a little bit under the weather about talking to her. I was a little bit upset. She had a scare on the Thursday before I filmed, where I went to go give her lunch, and there was quite a bit of blood in her space. She is free roam in our kitchen, and there was quite a bit of that all over the kitchen. And so rabbits shouldn't bleed, as most living creatures shouldn't if there's not a problem. And we checked her over and didn't see any like wounds. You know, she wasn't cut somewhere, or a lot of times rabbits, their claws will get caught on a carpet or something like that and cause a problem. Let me turn on my light. Does that help? It probably doesn't, but now we have light. Okay. So we were thinking that maybe her paw got caught on the carpet or something, but we didn't see any bleeding or any active bleeding. So we rushed her to the vet, and he took a look at every inch of her body and could not find anything. They did an x-ray to see if maybe she had a problem in her bladder, and they found what they thought was a calcium stone in her bladder. And so they scheduled a surgery. So at the time I was giving her pain medicine and antibiotics, and did that for 2 weeks. She went to the vet this past Monday for her surgery, and they found that whatever they saw on the x-ray is outside of the bladder instead of inside of the bladder like they thought. So they checked to see if they thought maybe it was a cancer, and thankfully they don't see any other signs that it's cancer. So she's just gonna go on a little bit of a watch, and see if that grows or if they need to do a biopsy or anything like that. But for now, she's happy, bouncing around just like herself, and much happier that I am no longer chasing her around 2 times a day to get her medicine. Because like I said, she is not a cuddly bunny. She does not like to be picked up. So 2 times a day I was getting her up and force feeding her some antibiotics. But she's doing well. Here's some pictures of her. They did put her to sleep on Monday to get the x-ray and start the surgery. So she does have what we call 2 little drumsticks or chicken wing legs. And yeah, but she's happy, healthy, and we'll keep you updated on her update next month. So yeah, that's the lifey stuff. Other than that, it's been business as usual. I have a full-time job. I work in software management. We have a software company and I manage teams and different departments. So quite busy with that. And other than that, I've been knitting. My boss did start an initiative, not this week, but the week before. So the Monday after I recorded, where he has started kind of a book club with the leadership team, and we can listen to an audiobook that he selects that's kind of business or management software related. And so we can listen to it on Audible and walk for an hour a day and get some exercise, and that count towards my work hours. So I have really been enjoying that. That's a lot of extra movement because I am pretty sedentary. So I've been excited about that. So I have definitely been taking advantage of walking outside. Hopefully it'll get cooler here soon and I'll be able to enjoy it a little bit more because it has been quite hot. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for coming, for clicking on my little thumbnail and dropping by and visiting and seeing what I have. Please, please, please share down below if you are working on a project. Like if you have a pattern that you're excited to make, or how many socks. If you were doing summer sock camp, how many socks did you complete? Did you meet your goal? If you knit socks, that's the goal. That is the goal of summer sock camp. But even if you didn't complete a pair, like, it's fun. That was the purpose, is to knit socks. So as I am losing light, I'm gonna go and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.